Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, whether you're live or whether you're watching in a post recording. This is our Monday Facebook Live series where I have the fortunate chance to talk to a lot of people who have grown their business in a variety of ways. And we get to have a fun discussion about what, in terms of content, in terms of storytelling, if anything, helped grow a variety of businesses out there. So I'm very, very excited to be joined by Debbie Sassen today. She is a financial coach, a business coach, a mindset coach. She runs a wonderful Facebook community that I've gotten a lot of inspiration from. And probably if you're watching on Facebook, you've gotten inspiration from it as well. So Debbie, if you'd like to add anything about your introduction, what you do, and then we can sort of get started.
Okay, thank you, Elisheva, for having me. This is so much fun. I help women, female entrepreneurs, to grow their business, double their income, and coming from a financial planner investment background, I really encourage people to take charge of their money, because so many people have businesses where the money comes in and then the money goes out. There's a lot of fogginess around money, but I really want my women to keep their money, to hold on to it, to understand money, to feel comfortable talking about money, and to use money to create a sustainable financial future, to grow their wealth, make sure they have money in their retirement plans, use money to make an impact in the world through donations, charities, through buying. I love buying from small businesses. I love supporting other female small business owners, and that's the way that we can make a bigger impact in the world.
Wow, amazing. You know, I think I've said this to you before, but I think I'm sure you've realized this as you've done it, it's such a necessary thing. Even for myself, as you were talking, I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm one of those people where money is a little bit foggy. So it's such a necessary thing, especially for people starting out. Even if you have a small but growing business, it's so necessary. And I feel like something we don't always think about, depending on your personality, of course. Some people are very money mindset oriented, but not all of us are.
So. Money management. I wouldn't call it mindset. I call it money management organized, because you can have people that have this like abundance mentality or manifesting, depending on how you want to call it, or depending on where you like to hang out in the spiritual world or the woo-woo world. And money comes in, but then again, it all goes out, and there's like a lot of fogginess around what happens to it. And people that I've worked with who have big businesses, like multi-six-figure businesses, who end up not taking home a salary, taking home less than their support people, their VA, things like that. And that's where there's a lot of cloudiness. Like when you're, especially an online entrepreneur, that's why I work with online entrepreneurs. There are a lot of tech support softwares, applications that we use to run our business, and sometimes they're overlapping, or we haven't been paying attention. We don't know where the money's going out. You think you need all these support services, and so money can get really foggy.
Amazing. So I'd love to start by just talking a little bit about your start in running your own business. You say you have this financial background, which maybe some people know about, some people don't. But what was the catalyst, I guess, to you starting?
So maybe I'll divide it into three. Number one, I have a financial background, and I need some water. Because I started working on Wall Street a long time ago, 35 years ago, in July 1985. And I worked on a trading floor with investments, specifically on the bond side, which is a loan. We don't have to go into that now, but I worked on Wall Street on a trading floor for 3 years, 2 years in New York, 1 year in London. And then when I came to Israel, I started working at the Bank of Israel, also in the dealing room, where we were investing the country's foreign currency reserves. So again, it was investment based. It was again on the debt side, the loan side, buying bonds, not on stocks. And I worked on the trading floor I worked at the Bank of Israel for 18 years. It's pretty much split up. Half of my time I was in the trading floor, doing portfolio management, and half of it was in the economics department of the foreign currency department, where we would be doing portfolio analysis and projections and a lot of financial analysis. So that's my very boring resume kind of background. But while I was at the Bank of Israel, I gave birth to all of my children while I was working there. I have 8 kids. And by the time I got to my last one, it was like, that's it, like I can't do this anymore. And he would say he'd give mama nafish. Like I couldn't keep going from Beit Shemesh, where I live, to Jerusalem every day and still maintain my family and the work that I was doing. And the Bank of Israel had gone through a reorganization while I was away on maternity leave for my 8th child. And when I came back, I wasn't doing the same job, and I wasn't as excited about where I had been placed during this reorganization. And I really felt like my growth. I was really, doing some fun things before I left. I was part of the monetary policy team in my department, where we presented to the bank governor once a month, giving all sorts of forecasting and talking about what happened in the financial markets and global economies and whatever, giving our information so that the governor could make decisions on the interest rate. And I was no longer on that team. And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed when I was working there. So the bottom line was there were a lot of reasons why I was like, that's it, I've had enough. I burnt out for family reasons, for career reasons. And during the first year, when you work for the government, you can leave and you can retire or quit or whatever you want to call it, and it doesn't impact your pension anyway, the year after you give birth. So I decided after 11 months of when my baby was 10 or 11 months that it was time for me to move on. Maybe less, maybe 9. Anyway, so I wanted to transition into personal financial planning, taking, the background that I had in investments and then helping people to manage their money better. And the third thing that was part of that was, while I was working at the Bank of Israel, I made a really stupid money mistake. I took a hot tip. I made an investment that I didn't research properly. I didn't do my due diligence. It was from someone, whatever. I lost $50,000 really quickly. Within a few months, I lost a lot of money. And I was like, oh, here I am, this supposed hot shot. I know what I'm doing in investments. And I made this really stupid mistake. And I started researching and learning a lot. Personal investing is very different from corporate and government investing. Plus, it was in the stock market, into the bond market, which is where my zone of genius was until that time. And so I did a tremendous amount of learning and research. And if you look at my bookshelf, I have a lot of books that I've read. Anyway, so I said, you know what, this is something that if I can make that mistake coming from a financial background, and I know the terms, whether it's interest rate or rate of return and, present value, future value, all these interesting financial terms that people are they don't want to have to deal with them, and it all sounds like Chinese. I was like, this is really my calling, and I want to be able to help people to manage their money better. So that started my new career, which is now, that started 12 years ago. It's been very interesting, exciting growth for me, growth for my clients. But what I also learned as I was doing it is that people have triggers around money. Now, that might seem normal for somebody who's just has triggers around money, but coming from my professional background, I was like, oh, governments don't have triggers around money, right? Money is money. Money is a thing. You invest it. The government has a pot of money, right? I mean, it could grow, it can shrink, whatever, and they have this money, they need to do with it. But when people, and they don't feel any scarcity. Maybe they do, especially when you're in a situation where we are now, where people are unemployed. So unemployment claims are going up, and the government is giving a lot of stimulus for people who are out of work. So the government might be feeling that shortage and lack, but it doesn't hit you in your gut the same way as if you have no money in the bank and you have to feed your family. They, talk about where they're going to tax the population so that they can increase their income, right? Or maybe they'll be able to go into a budget deficit. But that's from a government point of view. So people can go into a budget deficit, but it means you go in Israel into overdraft, or you can go into credit card debt, or you have to take a personal loan. And the implications for your family and for your personal financial future can be very great, especially for people who keep going into budget deficit. They keep going into debt, and they go deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. So that's one kind of trigger. There's also trigger around people who have money and people who would get inheritance, and they would, I would meet with them for 2 hours, and I could see that you've just received $1 million or $2 million, like I could see what your financial statements are. That's why you're coming to me. And they would get triggered by me charging out for 2 hours and 15 minutes if our session ran over a little bit. It's like, that was like very interesting. You know, my few shekels is all of a sudden like triggering someone who has all this huge money in the bank. So people are very weird about money.
Mm.
Or they can be. Like money is just a thing. Like
Right.
money is a tool that helps you buy something that you don't have, or you can invest it for the future to grow it. But like it's just a thing. People don't get like, here's my lovely water bottle. People don't get freaked out about their water bottles. Maybe if it falls on the floor and cracks, I have to go get a new one. And I really liked this one, but people don't have the same sort of triggers. And so I was like, I need to go and get a little bit more background about this more emotional side of money. So that's when I did a certification for money coaching. And that sparked a whole like change into where I am now with coaching. And I've done other certifications since then for EFT, which is known as tapping, where you tap on your energy.
Right.
Because that's a way that we have we have negative blocks around money, and we store things in our bodies. Like there's a lot of energy that can be stored and can stop us. So I've continued doing a lot of learning and training, and now I'm completing a life coaching certification. So I'm getting a lot of background on more the mindset and the emotional pieces of all of our drivers in life, besides just and now I support women business owners to build their businesses and make money and keep money.
Amazing. Wow, that's so interesting. I didn't realize that it was later on that you sort of decided to develop this aspect of the triggers that you're talking about and helping people manage. So now, do you feel like when you're running your business, do you feel like they really go hand in hand with each other? Would you say that you're using half of these skills and half of these skills, or how much do you see them interacting on a daily basis?
You for sure need both, a mix of the practical and the emotional. I would say that running a business is about 80 or 90% mindset. It's being able to manage our minds. Like one thing that I hear from so many people is that they have a whole day in front of them, right? And, if you have an interview scheduled at 12 o'clock, so you show up for that. But when there's no boss on top of you, so all of a sudden your day gets frittered away, or you find yourself scrolling Facebook all day or watching Netflix or doing the laundry, and you don't know what happened to your time. And that's where being able to manage our minds is so valuable. Because if we actually did a, list of all the things we accomplished, we might be a little bit shocked how little we accomplished in a single day. And if we had been managing our mind and noticing where we were going and what we were doing, how much more we could have accomplished. And most of that is due to fear and insecurity and confusion and doubt. And so we don't move ourselves forward enough in business because we're so afraid of what other people are going to say or what's going to happen. I post something on Facebook and people are going to be like, oh, that was the stupidest interview in the world with Debbie Sassen, right? And then, or whatever, whatever it is. So they get blocked. Like I have a client that we spoke with yesterday, and she has even set in her calendar business development because she has a course and she wants to market the course. It's existing. She sells it already, and she wants to grow the audience for that course. But somebody calls on the phone who wants to work with her for a one-on-one session, maybe one session or two sessions. And so she feels bad. She feels empathy for them or compassion. So she takes them in. But in the meantime, that course that can impact the lives of another 50 people or another 100 people, right? If she would take that hour and put it into her business, like she's not helping them because of her feeling that she wants to help this one person right now. And the truth of it is we can't do everything, right? We have 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. Like we have to figure out how to manage our time. And if we use this thing between our ears, our brain, and we engage our mind and figure out what we're doing and why we're doing it, then we can make different choices.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So I want to ask you, because I feel like, at least for me, I think last week I was with a client and we were talking about a social media plan for video, and your name was referenced as like, you know, a very successful person, a household name. Like, of course, you know who Debbie Sassen is, and so I wanted to ask you. Obviously, that takes a lot of work, and you come from a wide array of experience, not just in your own business, but in your financial background as well. So, what do you see through running your business as some of the key markers that you think helped you grow, if you're able to look at it? Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and we can't always tell. It's not always like a pinpoint, I find, of like this thing, really grew it or this thing. But I wonder if you have any just sort of insights for people as to what you felt helped you grow.
One is managing my mind and be willing to be visible on Facebook. Now, you're not going to want me to tell you that I don't do a lot of video.
That's okay. You don't have to. You can be. There are lots of ways to be successful. Obviously, I really promote the video aspect, but I'm happy to also tell you, if you wanted to, what aspect video could help you with. But there are other ways, to also grow your business, obviously, and here you are as proof.
So I have done some videos, like I think maybe even last summer about this time, I put out like a series of, maybe it was daily videos, like I recorded them on Zoom and I uploaded them. I've done Facebook Lives, but my gift, I think, is, well, it is talking. I'm very good talking. I'm very good teaching live, and the written words. So I find that I can be more expressive when I write it out. Now, sometimes I can write it out and then I can, pre-record it, but I don't. Interestingly, I just popped into my mind, when I was in high school, I did speech and debate, and I was great at debate, where I could research and I had a lot of information like under my belt, and I could show up and I could give my debate, and then there was a rebuttal, but I was never good at impromptu. Like, that wasn't my thing. And even when I look at my kids, some of my kids are like, they're so fast. Like, they say, like, I say something and immediately they have like something to say. And I'm one of those people that if I say something really quickly and I have a really good response, I'm like, oh, wow, how did I do that? So like, impromptu is not my thing. So maybe if I had a whole script or something for a Facebook Live,
right,
I could do it. But I know that people just show up like, hi, today I'm at the market, or hi, I'm at the beach, or whatever it is. And we're doing their Facebook Lives, but that's not me. I'm a little bit more thought out and grounded. That's the way I show up. And I can do that and with words differently from how I can do it with video. But my willingness to believe that I could make more money in my business, and to really, through the tapping work that I do and the other mindset work that I do, the thought work, really to clear the blocks to showing up and being visible, and to saying things online and not worry about what people are going to say. My dad even asked me last week, because I put up a post on my Facebook page last week, I think sometime, where I said that now my business is a 6-figure business. I'm growing it to a 7-figure business, right? And he said, like, do you ever worry about what people say? And I'm like, people have a lot of things to say. People have a lot of thoughts, and they're all entitled to their thoughts, right? They can think whatever. They can think I'm boastful. They can think I'm arrogant. They can think I'm a snob, or I'm elitist, or I'm a blooded, blippity bleep bleep. They can think whatever they want, right? And I can allow them to think that. And I can also think at the same time that I have a gift and I can help people to grow their businesses. And when I'm making a bigger impact in the world, the energetic exchange for making that bigger impact is money. So I can make $1 million while I'm impacting a lot of lives and a lot of businesses. And it's very trickle down. If you grow your business, Alicia, by helping people to promote their businesses, and then they're helping people in the world, or I'm helping health coaches or life coaches, or people who are doing other things, then the world, like that rising tide lifts all ships. We're all doing better. We're all being raised up. So I'm here to make a big impact and to be an example of what women can achieve with their businesses. And if you have a problem with that, you're entitled to it. If you type nasty things on my Facebook page, I'll delete them, because it's my real estate. If you type something on my page that you disagree with me, I'll let it be there. So, everybody can decide what they want. But if you're going to, call me nasty names, then I get to delete you because it's my page.
Right. I find that no matter what, I think it's really prominent when you start running your own business and you decide to, let's say, be on Facebook or be on social media in any way. That's something I feel immediately people start dealing with. And you just really have to get over it, because there will always be people who want to say this to you and want to say that to you. And it's a hard thing. But really what I keep hearing from people is, if you have at least some people, hopefully not so many, but if you get that in any way, there must be something that you're doing right. It means you're really putting yourself out there. And ultimately, people will always disagree with you, hopefully in a respectful way, but not always. And we have to, be able to manage that.
Yeah. So as long as you realize, it could be triggering, could hurt me.
Definitely.
Like emotionally, I might be like that stings, which is sometimes a message to find out, why does it hurt? Why does it sting? And if it's nasty, I'll just delete it.
Exactly. So it sounds like to me, when you talk about, at least on the content end of what helped you grow your business, it sounds like writing was a very powerful thing for you, because you could sit down, you could really think about what is it that I want to say. You could think more about how you're presenting yourself. Like, you really feel like that's how you express yourself in some of the best ways.
Yeah, I also grew
by. Is that why you think writing was very powerful for you?
Oh, because I think I'm a decent writer. Maybe not, the best writer. We all have what to improve, but I'm a good writer. But that's my social media presence. I've also, I have years worth of blogs on my website, which I stopped updating last year sometime, because I don't do that. I'm Facebook is like my blog. I just let it all out on Facebook. And I've run tons and tons of webinars over the years. So that was another way that I grew my audience and I grew my expertise. And I haven't done it a long time, but I'm thinking that I would like to run another webinar soon. There's a great webinar that I've run about your financial thermostat and breaking through your income ceiling. And I'm feeling like it to do that again.
I like what you said about how Facebook has sort of become where you just put all your personal stuff out there. It almost sounds like it took your blog, which is something that, for many people is still a popular format. But in many other ways, I also feel like blogs have sort of transferred themselves to these different pages, whether it's Facebook, just to me, I don't see so much difference between general marketing and social media. I think the more that we can think about how can I take these different marketing platforms that may or may not be getting as many users as they once did, or as many visitors, and to transfer them over to Facebook and really turn that into your new blog or your new place where you're really expressing yourself. I think that's also a really good way to grow, is by really just thinking, how can I move this stuff over, and how can I keep publishing it in ways where people are really listening and watching?
Right. So that's the challenge, because a blog is there and Facebook it just scrolls. Right. So if you don't capture it, you lose it. And that's the challenge. So, if I had, I do have a VA, but I could take her to capture Facebook posts and then put it up in a blog. That might be something that to think about, because then it would be there for posterity.
Right. Exactly. So I want to also talk about this other idea. You said that, you haven't really used videos so much, but obviously you've still been able to grow in an incredible way, and you have this big community of people. So something that I've noticed with your pages is, even though you don't have video, I feel like you do a very good job of letting people get to know you by showing pictures of yourself. I think that's a key thing. That's something that people, I think, can do. They can do it with video, but you can also do it with photos if you have expressive enough words with it, right? So if you show a picture of yourself, because the whole idea is that it's very hard for our audience to really know us, right? So the more that we can do to connect with our audience and almost make them feel like we're having a conversation. And I find that you do that really well when you show pictures of yourself, and sometimes you have a certain expression on your face that's really mirroring the words that you have, or whatever it is. Now, obviously, I really like to do this with clients with video, but I think that in sort of lieu of video, what you've done very well is you've tried to sort of still get that same emotion, that same connection with people, but do it with pictures and with text. Because like you said, since you're a very good writer, I think you're able to sort of express a lot of yourself through writing. But I do think that if you didn't have that added benefit of the visual, where we really see your face and we really see how you feel about this thing or about that thing, then I think it would be hard for audiences to feel like they really know you. And it might be harder for people to feel like they know you when they call you to book with you, especially in your field. I feel like it's so important that audiences really sort of know you in some way, because I feel like that's really going to lead them to be more comfortable contacting you and thinking, oh, well, I already know her, so of course I want to talk to her about my business, about, my plans. Hopefully. I think that that's the goal.
Right. I hear that. Okay. And I actually have to say one thing. When I watch videos, I don't watch a lot of videos because I can read very quickly. So my preference is always to read, and it helps me to internalize it. Sometimes with a video, I'll go back, like if there's a point that I want to get. So video isn't even for me to consume content. It's not my go-to platform.
Yeah.
Sometimes and if I'm watching a video, I will often speed it up. Right. And that's something that you can't always do, like on a Facebook Live. You can't always speed it up, right?
Right. So yeah, if people are watching live right now, they can't speed it up because we haven't said it yet. Right. But if you're watching after the fact, so you can scroll through, but you might miss something. You don't know exactly where to scroll through. Different platforms offer different things. I find it interesting that on YouTube, if you start to scroll through, you almost get this like thumbnail preview of what that screenshot is. But on Facebook, I don't believe that you have that. So it just kind of depends. Different platforms offer different things. But I find it interesting that you say that. I was actually just having this conversation with someone the other day about how sometimes being able to read things is much better. Actually, I don't disagree with you. But there are a lot of times, let's say I'm looking up a tutorial video, right? If I want to learn how to do something, they want to show me how to do something either with filming or with editing that I'm trying to figure out. So I'll look up a tutorial video, and those are very popular. But with tutorial videos, I often will skip through them because I know how to do, let's say, the first half, but I'm really looking for this one thing. So I just want to skip to the part that I know. And if I was reading something, you're right that I could totally scroll through and do it. And I could find the paragraph or the section or the title that I wanted. But with video, you have to have a little more patience. So with those types of videos, I definitely understand that, first of all, it needs to be very concise. You need to make people aware of what they're going to get from it, what they're watching for. Okay. But I think that actually video provides something different. With those tutorial videos, I have the same desire to skip through them. But I think that what maybe writing may not offer that sometimes video does is, like we were talking about before, it really helps you get to know someone. Because unless you're a very good writer like yourself, not everyone has the gift, or not everyone's practiced it enough even to feel like they're really expressing themselves. It's hard to know what their personality is like. Are they very sort of more aggressive, in your face, to the point, very blunt, or maybe they're a softer personality. Maybe there's someone, maybe they're very intuitive. Maybe they, and again, these ideas can be present in other ways, but you get a lot of ease through it in video if you're just able to watch someone share an idea or a thought. So I think that those types of pieces of content can be very powerful in video. Again, as long as you're not boring people and causing them to skip through to the end, whatever it is.
Right. No, I totally agree. And we can, like, when I'm writing, I have my voice in my head, so I know where I want to put an emphasis. And people have taken writing, and we don't write like we were taught to write in school anymore, right? People are using short sentences and run-on sentences, and you put periods after every word, and you can bold or add exclamations. So we're trying to get the voice there to put the emphasis in the right place. It's not the same. Like we like write something and you can read it one way and someone else can read it a different way. And that's what you don't have with the written word that you do have with video, because I can speak it louder, or I can make my voice quieter, or I can emphasize the word. So yeah, I totally hear you that video gives you that where writing won't give it to you necessarily.
Right. But there's lots of different forms of content that do different things, and depending on what people's skill level are. they can utilize different types of content in a different way.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
we've talked about like once a few months ago, like just telling my story through video, which might be something that would be very useful for me, for my content, just to have it up there. I could have that on my banner on my Facebook page.
Yeah, that's something I often talk about with people. Again, not just clients, but just sometimes on these Facebook Lives, or sometimes in conversation with people, is that people really are, I think, interested in hearing the story of this business person that they could potentially work with.
Right.
Especially in your field, but I think also in other fields, even if they didn't realize it to begin with. The idea is that if you can personalize more what it is that you offer to people, maybe explaining to them why you do what you do, why you love it, why you really care about working with people or producing this item or this service, whatever it is. And I think that really speaks to people. And I think that's also a format that works really well in video. When you can you almost give a lot of emotion and empathy over to your audience by doing that. And if it's done right, of course,
Right. Okay.
But if it's all about emotionally connecting with your audience, so that can be a powerful way. Again, not the only way, but it can be a very powerful way. So do you think that have you ever really shared on your Facebook, maybe in the group that you're on, anything like that? Can you think of a moment where you were more personal about why it is you do what you do, or maybe just shared something personal and vulnerable?
Well, I just told you about my losing $50,000.
Right, that's true. That's a big one. And I'm sure that's not the first time you brought it up either.
Well, I talk about it all the time. And when I finally got over like the shame, I didn't even tell my husband for a while, but we don't keep secrets from each other. So it was just a little bit of time. And it's in my book. I mean, I wrote a book, and it's there as one of the reasons why I wrote my book. But I do, if you hang out on my Facebook page, you'll see a lot of things there that about my clients, and some of it is about me, about various stories in my life and what I do. And I mean, some people have like really like juicy lives. I don't know, maybe in a certain way my life was kind of boring, right? I went to high school, I went to college, I got a job, I worked on Wall Street, I moved to Israel. I mean, obviously there are little vignettes that are like in this like long, 50 plus year history that are specific, but some people have much more, like they call it like a hot mess life, and I don't really have a hot mess life. So
no, but whatever it is that it's great.
I turn my little mishaps into hot messes just to get like Facebook likes or something now.
Right. No, I think a lot of people, when you think about being vulnerable, they think it has to be like the most dramatic thing that's ever happened to them, some big secret that nobody ever knows about. But really, it's just things that are more personal, that personalize you to your audience. And I think that there are things like that again, we don't have to be doing all the time. And everyone's, I think, business and brand is different. There's no right way to go about sharing more of who you are to people. But I think to the extent that we can try to do it a little bit here, a little bit there, I think that really connects your business to your audience.
There you go. So that's what I do. I do what I do, and I don't try to change who I am. What is what you get.
Exactly. So if you could, I don't know if you've thought about this, but what's next in terms of your business growth? Have you thought about sort of what's could be immediate future, could be long-term future? What do you think is going to be the next step that'll help you kind of grow that much more, if you've thought about it?
Yeah, I'm starting to drop hints on my Facebook page, because now I'm working with like women entrepreneurs to help them to grow their business, but I'm very passionate about helping older women entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, like 50 plus, because that's when the clock is really starting to tick. And I mean, and women can come to this stage of life. I'm also 57 in a few days, and so this is my age group as well. But women can come to this stage of life with money in a retirement plan, pension. They've done the corporate thing like I did, so they have a very solid financial footing and a lot of skills already, and they want to go and do something different. Either they got burnt out at work like I did, or they've gone from being an accountant to being a healer or to being a copywriter or something. Like they've just done a different thing with their life, and they want to grow their businesses. And the clock is really ticking for people who don't have money safe in financial assets and a retirement plan. Some people are like, well, I'm going to have to work till I'm 100, but like, hello, nobody really works till 100. I mean, maybe they're like individuals in the world, but they can't figure out how to make the money work. And that's really combining my two gifts is, the practical side of money and the business side of money. And there's this real feeling that time is running out. And so, I'm toying with the idea of like really niching my business into that age group, like 50 plus. I'm thinking about a podcast, perhaps. So, which is me talking, but no video. Sorry, Alicia.
Hey, it's okay. Whatever works for people. I obviously have what I think works, but really what it's all about, it's just different mechanisms to try and do the same thing, which is connect with more of your audience. Yeah. Let more people know about what you do. So it's different ways to go ahead and do the same things that we're all looking for, basically.
Yeah, it's like they say, all roads lead to Rome, right? Or all roads lead to Jerusalem. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay, well, I really appreciate you coming on here today. It was really lovely to hear more about your story and what you've done to be able to grow your business. And that's basically all for me, unless you have any final words that you want to end with everyone.
Thank you for go out there and manage your minds and make a lot of money. Like really, my final word is I want women to make a lot of money because women show up, we're compassionate, we are kind, we serve with our hearts. And the more women have lots of money, the more goodness we can spread in the world.
Right.
And amazing. That's how we're going to heal the world and heal the planet. So we're going to do that. That's what I think we're here to do.
Well, I'll try my best over here.
Okay, good. Go make
Okay, thank you so much for coming on here, and thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks for having me.
Bye.